one of the best coaching staffs assembled, some of the best scouts, some of the best kids that we're recruiting, and commitments already coming on the way as I speak. And now that I've gotten here and I see it, and I understand it, Rick, and I can grasp it, and I can touch it, and I can feel it, and I can taste it, I truly understand what you want. All you want is an opportunity to win, to compete, to dominate, to be amongst the elite, to be amongst the best. And darn it, I'm going to give you that.
Man, what a powerful press conference it was in Boulder as Deion Sanders was announced as the new head coach at the University of Colorado. So there is not a splashier hire in the country, and I will tell you that any president and athletic director that are going through this, hiring a coach, there's not a more important hire at a university than the head coach. And getting it right matters. You've got to get it right, not just for the quality of your football program, but also the health of your institution. Now, some would disagree with me on this, but the most important hire, in my estimation, that any institution can make is their head football coach. He is, in large part, the football program. It's like the quarterback in the NFL. And the football program is, in large part, the front porch of the institution. Okay, so this is your entry point into everybody's living room in the country is the football program. And there's time and time again, you can look at examples of the way that coaches and the success of a football program has positively impacted a school. I mean, I've given the Alabama analogy before. Alabama's institution, just their academic side, they've risen their capacity about 50%. Okay, so the size of their school has grown substantially since Nick Saban became their head coach. Well, when you take a look at all of those extra students now every single year paying tuition, both in-state and out-of-state, if you average that out to right about $18,000, $19,000 per year, which is a conservative estimate, well, that's over $250 million annually that you can say happened because their football program has been the preeminent football program in the country over the course of the last decade. Well, through that lens, you look at what Deion Sanders could mean to the University of Colorado. And I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that Deion could mean hundreds of millions of dollars to the institution, both the institution and the athletic department. Okay, so then that's just from the institution standpoint. Now you get down to the athletics department. I can tell you for a fact, Colorado has raised more money in the last week than they have been able to in really the last 6 months or year. They've sold more season tickets already for next season than they have in the last few seasons. All right, there's waiting lists now for all the boxes and the suites. That place is going to be packed. That's an important thing when you're talking about the perception and the momentum for a program. And then you get down to the program itself. All right, and what is it that Deion Sanders gives this program? And you know what it is? Relevance. Because every show in America, this one included, is going to be talking about Deion Sanders. They're going to have an opinion on Deion Sanders. Colorado is going to be, and has been for the better part of the last 72 hours, the most relevant program in college football in the whole country. Because we don't have games this week outside of Army-Navy. We're talking about the Heisman and the playoff and everything. And what else? Colorado. That's how important it is that Deion Sanders was hired by the athletic director, Rick George. And now it becomes about recruiting. Okay, so now that you've got all of this exposure and you're that relevant, now it becomes, can you go and recruit and get the players necessary to come in and play at the top end of college football? And I got to tell you, you're already starting to see these commitments roll in. A five-star kid, granted in 2025, bam, he committed. You're going to get transfer portal access. You're going to get a better roster, just period. We all know it. You know why? Because every kid in the country, when he gets a text or a DM from Deion Sanders, he's returning it. And there's probably at least, at a minimum, some level of curiosity for him and his family to go out and visit. And I can tell you this from experience. The superpower of Boulder, Colorado is once you're there. It's beautiful. It's stunning. You get there and it's like, oh, yeah, I could play here. And that's what he gives you. You know why? Because he's one of one. Deion is one of one in the coaching world. There's nobody like him at all. And now he's going to have the ability to go out there and get the players necessary to compete at a higher level, which leads me to that speech that he gave his players. You heard it. I don't have to play it. He said, listen, you hit that portal, you existing Buffaloes. Hit that portal because I'm bringing my luggage, and it's Louis, he said. First of all, what an amazing line. Second of all, what's he supposed to do? He's not going to be able to turn that roster into all of a sudden a bowl roster next year. That's a 1-11 roster. That's a roster that is not very good. The commitments that they had for next year, everyone's like, they're not honoring their scholarships. Exactly. That's the point. I mean, folks, they're 1-11. They're largely one of, if not the worst Power 5 program in the country, and they have been for the better part of 15 years. So Deion's changing that, and you have to change that not just because you win the press conference, but by bringing in great players. That's the lifeblood of college football, recruiting. Well, guess what? You got to have space for those guys. So Deion's doing exactly what he needs to do to get back on a competitive level in college football. He's got to clear space on that roster so that he can bring in as many kids as possible that can come in there and possibly win football games. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.